25 oldest black female artists who are surprisingly still alive. They were robbed of their names, hidden in the shadows as ghost singers, and told their voices were too black for the charts, yet they became the architects of every song you love today. From Darlene Love, singing #1 hits credited to others, to Barbara Lynn, defying a man's world with a left-handed guitar, these women didn't just break records, they broke chains. At Black Excellence Legends, and we strip away the industry polish to reveal the raw, grit-to-glory truth of the queens who built the House of Soul. The history of music is being rewritten. Don't let their names be forgotten. Subscribe to Black Excellence Legends now, and hit the bell to honor the voices that refuse to be silenced. Shirley Caesar. Standing as a monumental pillar in American spiritual music, Shirley Caesar, often hailed as the First Lady of Gospel, embodies a legacy of vocal prowess and unwavering faith. Born in 1938 in Durham, North Carolina, her journey began at the tender age of 12, marking the inception of a professional odyssey spanning over 7 decades. Caesar's initial ascent to prominence occurred during the 1960s as a vital member of the Caravans, an elite gospel ensemble, where her explosive alto, delivery, and emotive storytelling set a new benchmark for the genre. Transitioning into a solo career in the 1970s, she redefined the landscape of religious music by seamlessly blending traditional homilies with contemporary soul arrangements. With a discography exceeding 40 albums, her impact is quantifiable through an astounding collection of 11 Grammy Awards and 15 Dove Awards. Iconic anthems like No Charge and Hold My Mule demonstrate her unique ability to weave narrative sermonettes into song at a technique that has captivated audiences across generations. Her 2016 viral sensation, I Got Beans, Greens, Potatoes, Tomatoes, proved her timeless cultural relevance, bridging the gap between classic ministry and the digital age. Beyond the recording studio, Pastor Caesar is a beacon of community leadership. An ordained minister, she has dedicated much of her life to the Mount Calvary Word of Faith Church, balancing her global touring schedule with local outreach. Her philanthropic endeavors and political service as a former Durham City Council member underscore a commitment to social justice that mirrors her musical message. Honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy, Shirley Caesar remains a vibrant, active force in 2026, proving that the fire of a true messenger never dims with time. Grace Jones. A singular phenomenon in the pantheon of global entertainment, Grace Jones remains a transcendent figure whose influence spans high fashion, cinematic history, and musical innovation. Born in 1948 in Spanish Town, Jamaica, she later moved to New York, where her striking statuesque presence and severe androgynous aesthetic revolutionized the modeling industry. Collaborating with visionary artists like Jean-Paul Goude Jones transformed her physical form into a canvas for surrealist art, challenging conventional Eurocentric beauty standards and paving the way for future generations of Black performers to embrace radical individuality. Her musical trajectory is equally defiant of categorization. After an initial foray into the late 70s disco scene with hits like I Need a Man, she pivoted toward a sophisticated fusion of reggae, new wave, and post-punk. Working at the legendary Compass Point Studios in the Bahamas, she released a trilogy of albums, Warm Leatherette, Nightclubbing, and Living My Life, that defined the sonic landscape of the early 1980s. Her deep staccato vocal delivery on tracks like Pull Up to the Bumper and her haunting rendition of Libertango, I've Seen That Face Before, created a cool, detached persona that remains a cornerstone of art pop. In the realm of cinema, Jones brought her formidable intensity to the silver screen, most notably as the warrior Zulao in Conan the Destroyer, and the iconic Bond villain Mayday in A View to a Kill. In 2026, at the age of 77, she continues to be a fixture at international festivals, performing with a vitality that puts younger acts to shame. Whether she is hula hooping for 20 minutes straight while singing or headlining major fashion galas, Grace Jones represents the ultimate refusal to conform. She is not merely an artist. She is an atmospheric force, a living monument to the power of self-reinvention and the enduring allure of the avant-garde. Chaka Khan, a vocal titan whose influence resonates through every corner of modern R&B. Soul and pop, Chaka Khan, born Yvette Marie Stevens in 1953, is the definitive queen of funk. Emerging from the vibrant Chicago music scene, she first captivated the world as the frontwoman of the multiracial band Rufus. Her seismic delivery on the 1974 hit Tell Me Something Good, penned by Stevie Wonder, shattered the boundaries of traditional, soul-blending rock energy with sophisticated funk rhythms. Throughout the 70s, her tenure with Rufus produced a string of platinum successes, including Sweet Thing and Ain't Nobody, cementing her status as a powerhouse whose voice could effortlessly soar across 4 octaves with gritty precision. In 1978, Chaka transitioned into a solo odyssey that would define the anthem of empowerment. Her debut single, I'm Every Woman, became a global manifesto for female strength, later famously covered by Whitney Houston, yet never surpassed in its original raw vitality. The 1980s saw her embrace the digital revolution with the groundbreaking I Feel For You, by integrating a rap cameo from Grandmaster Mel Mel and a chromatic harmonica solo by Stevie Wonder. Chaka successfully bridged the gap between classic soul and the burgeoning hip-hop culture. This experimental spirit has earned her 10 Grammy Awards and a prestigious induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2023. As of February 2026, at the age of 72, Chaka Khan remains a formidable presence on the international stage. Her career, spanning over 50 years, is marked by a refusal to be pigeonholed, effortlessly navigating jazz standards with Dizzy Gillespie to high-energy dance tracks. Beyond her musical prowess, she is a philanthropist through the Chaka Khan Foundation, focusing on autistic children and women at risk. Her signature, voluminous hair, flamboyant style, and that unmistakable glass-shattering vibrato continue to inspire a new generation of vocalists. Chaka is not just a singer. She is a sonic architect whose blueprint is etched into the very DNA of popular music. Merry Clayton. In the history of rock and roll, few voices possess the raw, earth-shaking power of Merry Clayton. Born in 1948 on Christmas Day, hence her rhythmic name, Clayton began her musical journey in the soaring choirs of New Orleans before moving to Los Angeles. Her early career was defined by her elite status as a Raylette, one of the backing vocalists for the legendary Ray Charles. However, her definitive entry into the immortal halls of music history occurred on a cold night in 1969. Summoned from her bed while pregnant and wearing silk pajamas, she delivered the spine-chilling apocalyptic female vocal on the Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter. Her voice famously cracking under the sheer emotional strain of the lyrics, "Rape, murder, and it's just a shot away," remains one of the most haunting and celebrated moments in the history of recorded sound. Beyond that singular lightning strike of fame, Clayton established herself as a formidable solo artist and a premier studio vocalist. Her 1970 debut album, Gimme Shelter, showcased her ability to take rock classics and infuse them with deep, gospel-infused urgency. Throughout the 70s and 80s, she was the secret weapon for icons like Neil Young, Lynyrd Skynyrd singing on Sweet Home Alabama, and Carole King. Despite facing immense personal tragedy, including a devastating car accident in 2014 that resulted in the loss of both her legs, Clayton's spirit remained unbroken. Her resilience became a focal point of the Oscar-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom, which finally brought her out of the shadows of the background and into the global spotlight she long deserved. As of February 2026, at 77 years old, Merry Clayton stands as a symbol of survival and vocal majesty. Her 2021 comeback album, Beautiful Scars, recorded years after her accident, proved that her instrument had only grown richer and more resonant with age. She continues to inspire not through perfection, but through the visceral honesty of her delivery. To hear Merry Clayton sing is to hear the history of the Black church meeting the grit of the Sunset Strip. She is the ultimate testament to the fact that while the body may endure hardships, a soul fueled by music is indestructible. She remains an active, vibrant elder stateswoman of soul, reminding the world that some voices are simply too powerful to ever be silenced. Dionne Warwick. A paragon of elegance and vocal precision, Dionne Warwick is a singular force who bridged the gap between soul pop and rhythm and blues. Born in 1940 in East Orange, New Jersey, into a family of gospel royalty, she possessed a refined, crystalline instrument that caught the ear of legendary songwriters Burt Bacharach and Hal David. This creative alliance resulted in one of the most prolific streaks in music history. Throughout the 1960s, Warwick delivered a series of sophisticated hits like Walk On By, I Say a Little Prayer, and Do You Know the Way to San Jose, which showcased her uncanny ability to navigate complex time signatures and intricate melodies with effortless grace. With over 100 million records sold worldwide and 56 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, she stands as one of the most charted female vocalists of all time. While many artists from the golden era faded, Warwick's career experienced a massive resurgence in the 1980s. Her chart-topping collaboration, That's What Friends Are For, alongside Elton John, Gladys Knight and Stevie Wonder, not only dominated the airways but also became a pioneering, philanthropic anthem, raising millions for AIDS research. Her voice, characterized by its cool, detached, yet deeply emotive quality, has earned her 6 Grammy Awards, including a Lifetime Achievement Award. In the modern era, she has undergone an unexpected transformation into the Queen of Twitter, now X. Her sharp wit, candid commentary on contemporary pop stars, and grandmotherly charm have introduced her to a Gen Z audience that adores her as much for her personality as for her legendary catalog. As of February 2026, at 85 years old, Dionne Warwick remains an active and vital cultural figure. She continues to perform record and advocate for social causes, having served as a United Nations Global Ambassador. Her longevity is a testament to her technical mastery and her refusal to oversing. She treats a melody like a conversation, a rare skill in an age of vocal gymnastics. Whether she is being sampled by hip-hop producers or receiving the Kennedy Center honors, Warwick represents the pinnacle of musical class. She is a living bridge between the gospel roots of the 1940s and the digital landscape of the 2020s, proving that true sophistication never goes out of style. Anita Baker. In the landscape of 1980s R&B, while many artists were embracing synthesizers and high-octane dance beats, Anita Baker emerged with a sound that felt like velvet and midnight. Born in 1958 in Toledo, Ohio, Baker possessed a contralto voice so deep, rich, and effortless that it redefined the quiet storm radio format. Her journey wasn't an overnight success. After an initial stint with the funk band, Chapter 8, she spent time working a domestic job before being coaxed back into the studio. Her 1983 solo debut, The Songstress, gave the world a glimpse of her potential, but it was her 1986 masterpiece, Rapture, that transformed her into a global phenomenon. With over 5 million copies sold and 2 Grammy Awards, that album remains a definitive blueprint for sophisticated adult contemporary soul. What separates Baker from her peers is her meticulous control and jazz-influenced phrasing. Tracks like Sweet Love, Caught Up in the Rapture, and Giving You the Best That I Got are masterclasses in vocal restraint and emotional resonance. She doesn't just sing a lyric, she inhabits it, navigating low registers with a resonant warmth that few can replicate. Throughout the late 80s and early 90s, she became one of the most decorated artists of her era, ultimately amassing 8 Grammy Awards. Beyond the music, Baker was a pioneer in the industry regarding artists' rights, famously battling for ownership of her master recordings, a move that secured her financial independence and served as a courageous example for future generations of musicians. As of February 2026, at 68 years old, Anita Baker stands as a legendary figure whose influence can be heard in every modern, soulful vocalist. Despite periods of retirement to focus on her family, her return to the stage for her farewell tour and subsequent residencies prove that her songstress magic is undiminished. Her voice remains a pristine instrument capable of silencing a stadium with a single whispered note. She represents an era of pure musicality where the song and the voice were paramount. Anita Baker isn't just a singer of ballads. She is a guardian of the soulful flame, a woman who demanded excellence from herself in the industry, ensuring that her legacy remains as smooth and enduring as the classics she created. Sheila E. A whirlwind of rhythmic precision and charismatic energy. Sheila E. Born Sheila. Cecilia Escovedo in 1957 is a pioneer who shattered the glass ceiling for female instrumentalists in a male-dominated industry. Hailing from Oakland, California, she was born into a musical dynasty. Her father, percussionist Pete Escovedo, provided the foundation for her early mastery of the drums and timbales. By the mid-1970s, long before she became a household name, Sheila was already a sought-after virtuoso, lending her fiery Latin-infused rhythms to legends like Marvin Gaye, Lionel Richie, and George Duke. However, her trajectory shifted dramatically in 1984 when she collaborated with Prince. This partnership yielded The Glamorous Life, a high-octane masterpiece that showcased not only her world-class drumming, but also her soulful vocals and undeniable stage presence, propelling her into the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. What distinguishes Sheila E. from her contemporaries is her dual identity as a technical master and a pop visionary. Throughout the 1980s, she released a string of hits like A Love Bizarre, while simultaneously serving as the musical director and drummer for Prince's most iconic tours, including the Sign of the Times era. Her ability to execute complex lightning-fast percussion solos while wearing high heels and performing high-energy choreography became her signature. Beyond her solo success, she has remained a collaborative force, working with everyone from Beyoncé to Ringo Starr. Her influence extends into the philanthropic sector through the Elevate Hope Foundation, which uses music and arts therapy to assist abandoned and abused children, a testament to her belief that rhythm can heal the soul. As of February 2026, at 68 years old, Sheila E. remains a powerhouse of vitality. She continues to tour globally, often delivering performances that rival the stamina of artists half her age. In recent years, she has been honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and continues to release new music that blends funk, jazz, and Latin soul. Her legacy is not merely defined by her gold records, but by the thousands of young women who picked up drumsticks because they saw her commanding the stage. Sheila E. is more than a percussionist. She is a rhythmic architect who proved that a woman can lead the band, own the beat, and maintain a glamorous life without ever compromising her musical integrity. Patti LaBelle, a force of nature with a vocal range that defies the laws of physics. Patti LaBelle, born Patricia Louise Holty in 1944, is the ultimate diva in the most respectful sense of the word. Hailing from Philadelphia, she began her journey in the early 1960s as the lead singer of the Bluebells. However, it was the 1970s transformation into the funk rock trio LaBelle that cemented her status as a revolutionary. Clad in futuristic metallic space-age costumes, the group shattered racial and genre boundaries, culminating in the 1974 global explosion of Lady Marmalade. This track, with its provocative French refrain, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and introduced the world to Patti's signature shout singing, a technique blending gospel fervor with rock and roll intensity that few have ever dared to replicate. Transitioning to a solo career in the late 70s, Patti became the patron saint of the emotional power ballad. Her 1980s peak produced chart-topping classics like If Only You Knew, the high-energy New Attitude, and the iconic duet On My Own with Michael McDonald. What distinguishes a Patti LaBelle performance is the raw, unscripted emotion. She is famous for kicking off her shoes, rolling on the stage, and hitting stratospheric notes that feel like a spiritual awakening. This authenticity has earned her 2 Grammy Awards and a place in the Grammy Hall of Fame. Beyond the microphone, she conquered the culinary world with her Patti's Good Life brand, famously causing a national shortage of sweet potato pies, proving her influence extends from the concert hall to the kitchen table. As of February 2026, at 81 years old, Patti LaBelle remains a vibrant touring powerhouse. Her voice has retained its remarkable elasticity, continuing to reach those glass-shattering peaks that first made her a star. She is a beloved mentor to generations of singers, from Mariah Carey to Christina Aguilera, who view her as the godmother of soul. Whether she is acting in films like A Soldier's Story, appearing on Broadway, or headlining sold-out theaters, Patti embodies a zest for life that is infectious. She represents the enduring power of the Black woman's voice, unapologetic, magnificent, and eternally soulful. Patti LaBelle isn't just a singer, she is a living celebration of resilience in the human spirit. Irma Thomas. In the tapestry of American rhythm and blues, Irma Thomas stands as a regal and resilient thread, weaving the spirit of the Gulf Coast into the global musical consciousness. Born Irma Adele Javaya in 1941 in Ponchatoula, Louisiana, and raised in the vibrant streets of New Orleans, her voice is the definitive sound of the Crescent City. Unlike the high-octane theatricality of her contemporaries, Thomas mastered the art of the break, a soulful, understated vulnerability that earned her the title Soul Queen of New Orleans. Her early 1960s classics such as Wish Someone Would Care and It's Raining became blueprints for the deep soul subgenre, characterized by heartfelt delivery and sophisticated blues-infused arrangements. What truly etches Irma Thomas into history is her connection to songs that became global anthems through others. She was the original voice behind Time Is On My Side, a track she recorded in 1964 with a poignant pleading depth that the Rolling Stones later adopted for their own international breakthrough. Throughout the decades, while the industry shifted towards synth pop and disco, Thomas remained a steadfast guardian of the New Orleans R&B tradition. Her career is a masterclass in perseverance. Despite facing the devastating loss of her home and her iconic nightclub, the Lion's Den, to Hurricane Katrina, in 2005, she refused to be silenced. Instead, she channeled that grief into the 2006 album After the Rain, which earned her a long-overdue Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Blues Album. As of February 2026, at 84 years old, Irma Thomas remains the beating heart of New Orleans music. She is a perennial fixture at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, where her performances are treated as a sacred pilgrimage by fans from around the world. Her voice has aged like fine bourbon, smooth, warm, and carrying the weight of 1,000 stories. Beyond her musical accolades, she is a community matriarch, symbolizing the indomitable spirit of a city that has weathered every storm. Irma Thomas is not just a singer of the blues. She is a vessel for the endurance of a culture. To hear her sing today is to witness a living monument to the power of Grace soul and the unyielding strength of a true Louisiana legend. Diana Ross. In the vast chronicle of American music, few figures embody the transition from ensemble harmony to solo global supremacy as flawlessly as Diana Ross. Born in 1944 in Detroit, Michigan, Ross became the focal point of the world's most successful girl group, the Supremes. Under the visionary guidance of Motown's Berry Gordy, her cooing, sophisticated soprano led the trio to an unprecedented 12 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, including Stop in the Name of Love and You Can't Hurry Love. Ross didn't just sing, she curated a visual language of elegance, high-fashion wigs, and sequined gowns that redefined Black womanhood for a global television audience, proving that soul could be as polished as it was poignant. When she launched her solo career in 1970, Ross transformed from a pop star into a multifaceted cultural institution. Her debut solo effort gave the world the sweeping cinematic masterpiece, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, a track that showcased her ability to command a stage with both spoken word intimacy and soaring vocal climaxes. The late 70s and 80s saw her conquer the disco floor with anthems like Love Hangover and the Nile Rodgers-produced Upside Down, while her venture into cinema earned her an Academy Award nomination for her portrayal of Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues. With a career spanning over 60 years and more than 100 million records sold, she remains the ultimate blueprint for the modern pop diva, influencing everyone from Michael Jackson to Beyoncé. As of February 2026, at 81 years old, Diana Ross remains the reigning supreme of the entertainment world. Her 2021 album, Thank You, proved that her vocal instrument remains remarkably intact, light, airy, and imbued with a timeless joy. She continues to headline major international festivals and prestigious residencies, often appearing in a whirlwind of tulle and glitter that defies her decades. Beyond the accolades, which include a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Ross represents the enduring power of ambition and grace. She is a living monument to the Motown legacy, a woman who climbed every mountain and reached every peak, ensuring that her name remains synonymous with the very definition of a superstar. Barbara Lynn. In the male-dominated guitar culture of the 1960s, Barbara Lynn was a revolutionary anomaly, a stylish Black woman from Beaumont, Texas, who didn't just sing soul, but commanded the stage with a left-handed Fender Stratocaster. Born Barbara Lynn Ozen in 1942, she bypassed the traditional girl group route of her era to become a self-contained singer-songwriter and instrumentalist. Her 1962 masterpiece, You'll Lose a Good Thing, which she penned herself, remains a definitive pillar of Gulf Coast R&B. The track catapulted to #1 on the R&B charts and cracked the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10, showcasing a unique blend of Southern blues grit and sophisticated pop polish. Lynn's voice, characterized by a cool, understated vibrato, provided the perfect emotional counterpoint to her stinging, bluesy guitar licks. What truly distinguishes Barbara Lynn is her enduring influence as a musician's musician. During the British invasion, her songs caught the ears of the Rolling Stones, who covered her track, "Oh Baby, We Got a Good Thing Going," on their 1965 album, The Rolling Stones Now. Throughout the late 60s and 70s, she toured with the likes of Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, and James Brown, standing as their equal on the marquee. Unlike many of her contemporaries who were directed by male producers, Lynn was the primary architect of her sound writing, the majority of her catalog a rarity for female artists at the time. Her music bridged the gap between the rural blues of Texas and the sleek production of Atlantic Records, creating a swamp soul aesthetic that remains timelessly cool. As of February 2026, at 83 years old, Barbara Lynn stands as a living treasure of American roots music. Though she took a hiatus to raise her family in the 1970s, her return to the spotlight in the late 80s revealed that her guitar skills had only sharpened with age. In 2018, she received the National Heritage Fellowship from the National Endowment for the Arts, the highest honor in folk and traditional arts in the United States. Today, she remains active, occasionally performing at blues festivals, where she still plays her guitar upside down and left-handed, a physical testament to her defiance of convention. Barbara Lynn is more than a soul singer. She is a trailblazing guitar hero whose legacy paved the way for every woman who ever dared to strap on an electric guitar and tell her own story. Nona Hendryx. In the annals of music history, few artists possess the shape-shifting brilliance of Nona Hendryx. Born in 1944 in Trenton, New Jersey, Hendryx first ascended to fame as a vital architect of the trio LaBelle, alongside Patti LaBelle and Sarah Dash. While the group began as a conventional girl group, Hendryx was the visionary force that pushed them into the stratosphere of space-age funk. Dressed in silver spandex and towering plumes, LaBelle shattered racial and gender stereotypes, culminating in the 1974 masterpiece, Lady Marmalade. As the group's primary songwriter, Hendryx infused their catalog with socio-political depth and erotic mystery, proving that Black women could be the vanguard of high-concept art rock. When she transitioned to a solo career in the late 1970s, Hendryx refused to be tethered to the expectations of the R&B industry. Instead, she dived headfirst into the burgeoning new wave and post-punk movements. Her 1983 self-titled album and the hit Keep It Confidential showcased a gritty, leather-clad persona that combined stadium rock guitar riffs with soulful precision. She became a high-profile collaborator for avant-garde giants like Prince Peter Gabriel and Talking Heads, seamlessly navigating the intersection of funk, electronic, and hard rock. Hendryx was a pioneer of the Afro-punk aesthetic long before the term existed, demanding space for Black female voices in genres that often sought to exclude them. As of February 2026, at 81 years old, Nona Hendryx remains a relentless provocateur and a technological pioneer. In recent years, she has explored the fusion of music with wearable technology and digital art, continuing to mentor young independent artists through her audio-visual art projects. Her voice remains a powerful, smoky instrument, capable of delivering both a rock growl and a velvet caress. Beyond her musical accolades, she is a fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and social justice, using her platform to challenge the status quo. Nona Hendryx is not merely a soul singer. She is a cosmic rebel whose career serves as a masterclass in artistic autonomy and the enduring power of the avant-garde spirit. Gladys Knight. In the golden tapestry of American rhythm and blues, few voices carry the emotional weight and velvet texture of Gladys Knight. Born in 1944 in Atlanta, Georgia, she was a child prodigy who won televised talent contests at the age of 7, foreshadowing a career that would span over 7 decades. As the focal point of Gladys Knight and the Pips alongside her brother Bubba and cousins Edward and William, she bridged the gap between the polished pop of Motown and the gritty, heartfelt soul of the Deep South. Her 1973 masterpiece, Midnight Train to Georgia, remains a definitive cultural touchstone, a song about love, sacrifice, and the bittersweet pursuit of the American dream. Knight's delivery on this track, characterized by its conversational intimacy and soaring church-reared power, solidified her status as the Empress of Soul. What distinguishes Gladys Knight from her peers is her remarkable consistency and technical mastery. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, she produced a relentless string of hits, from the original high-octane version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine to the sophisticated cinematic soul of neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. Her voice is an instrument of immense warmth capable of conveying deep heartbreak without ever losing its regal composure. Beyond the recording studio, Knight conquered the world of television and film, earning critical acclaim and proving that her magnetism could transcend any medium. With 7 Grammy Awards and an induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she represents the pinnacle of professional excellence and artistic longevity. As of February 2026, at 81 years old, Gladys Knight remains a vibrant and active legend. She continues to grace international stages with a vocal clarity that defies the passage of time, often leaving audiences in awe of her undiminished stamina. In recent years, she has been celebrated with the Kennedy Center Honors and the National Medal of Arts, recognizing her profound contribution to the American cultural fabric. Beyond her accolades, she is a woman of deep faith and community spirit, serving as a matriarchal figure for generations of R&B vocalists who strive to emulate her grace. Gladys Knight is not just a singer, she is a living testament to the power of authentic storytelling through song, a woman whose every note resonates with the wisdom of a life beautifully lived. Barbara Mason. In the mid-1960s, while the music industry was dominated by heavy-hitting male producers and powerhouse vocal groups, a teenage girl from Philadelphia quietly revolutionized the sound of soul. Barbara Mason, born in 1947, was a rarity in her era, a female singer who not only possessed a breathtakingly pure voice, but also wrote her own material. At just 18 years old, she released the self-penned classic, Yes, I'm Ready, a masterpiece of sweet soul that climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song's delicate conversational delivery and lush orchestral arrangement became the definitive blueprint for the Philly soul sound that would dominate the charts for the next decade. Mason's ability to capture the innocent, yearning essence of young love made her an instant icon for a generation. As the 1970s arrived, Barbara Mason underwent a remarkable artistic transformation. Shedding her girl next door persona, she signed with Buddha Records and began exploring more mature, provocative themes that mirrored the shifting social landscape. Her hits during this period, such as Bed and Board and From His Woman to You, were bold, narrative-driven songs that dealt openly with the complexities of romance, infidelity, and female empowerment. These tracks showcased a deeper, more resonant vocal texture and a fearless approach to storytelling. Her collaboration with the legendary Curtis Mayfield on the track Give Me Your Love further cemented her status as a sophisticated R&B innovator who could balance chart-topping pop appeal with the grit of street-level soul. As of February 2026, at 78 years old, Barbara Mason remains a cherished and influential figure in the R&B community. Her legacy is particularly vibrant within the lowrider soul scene, where her ballads are revered as timeless anthems of devotion. Throughout her 60-year career, she has remained a steadfast songwriter, ensuring that her artistic voice remained entirely her own. Beyond her musical accolades, she is celebrated for her early autonomy in an industry that often silenced female creators. Today, she occasionally graces the stage at soul revivals, where her voice still carries that signature, crystalline warmth. Barbara Mason is more than a hitmaker. She is a trailblazing singer-songwriter who proved that a woman's perspective, written and sung on her own terms, is one of the most powerful forces in music history. Denise Williams. In the celestial choir of R&B and pop, few voices possess the ethereal, bell-like clarity of Denise Williams. Born June Denise Chandler in 1950 in Gary, Indiana, she didn't just sing, she defied the traditional limits of the human voice. Her journey to superstardom was paved by her tenure as a member of Wonderlove, the elite backing group for Stevie Wonder. This high-pressure apprenticeship allowed her to hone a staggering 4-octave range, particularly her mastery of the whistle register, which would become her sonic signature. In 1976, she burst onto the solo scene with her debut album, This Is Niecy, produced by Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire. The lead single, Free, became an instant classic, showcasing a vocal agility that felt both weightless and deeply soulful, bridging the gap between jazz-inflected R&B and mainstream pop. The 1980s saw Niecy transform from a soul darling into a global pop phenomenon. Her 1982 remake of It's Gonna Take a Miracle solidified her status as a chart topper, But it was her 1984 anthem, Let's Hear It for the Boy, that etched her name into the history of the decade. Featured on the Footloose soundtrack, the song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming a defining track of the MTV era. However, Williams was never one to be confined by secular success. A woman of profound faith, she made a courageous and successful transition into gospel music, winning 4 Grammy Awards in the genre. Her ability to navigate the Billboard charts and the church hymnals with equal sincerity proved that her talent was as versatile as it was virtuosic. As of February 2026, at 75 years old, Denise Williams remains a beacon of vocal health and artistic integrity. Her voice has retained the crystalline brilliance that first captivated Stevie Wonder over 50 years ago. She continues to perform and record, often serving as a mentor for younger artists who attempt to replicate her gravity-defying high notes. Beyond her musical accolades, she is celebrated for her pioneering role as a Black female artist who maintained creative control over her career and image. Denise Williams is not merely a hitmaker, she is a songbird, in the truest sense, a woman who used her extraordinary gift to bring a touch of the divine to the pop charts, ensuring her legacy remains as high and clear as her legendary high C. Brenda Holloway. In the strictly controlled hit-making machine of 1960s, Detroit Brenda Holloway was a magnificent anomaly. Born in 1946 in Atascadero, California, and raised in Watts, Los Angeles, she became Motown's first West Coast signing at the tender age of 17. Unlike her contemporaries who were molded by the Motown finishing school, Holloway arrived as a fully realized artist, a classically trained violinist with a sophisticated gospel-drenched alto and a Hollywood-ready glamour. Her 1964 breakthrough, Every Little Bit Hurts, remains one of the most poignant ballads in the label's history. Her delivery, characterized by a mature, tear-soaked restraint, proved that Motown could produce music that was as emotionally devastating as it was commercially polished. What truly etches Brenda Holloway's name into the pantheon of music legends is her prowess as a songwriter. In 1967, she co-penned You've Made Me So Very Happy, a soulful masterpiece originally recorded by her, but later turned into a multi-platinum global anthem by the rock group Blood, Sweat, and Tears. This achievement made her one of the few female artists of the era to command royalties as a writer on a worldwide standard. Despite her immense talent, Holloway's fierce independence often clashed with the rigid Motown system, leading to her departure from the industry at the height of her vocal powers in the late 60s. She stepped away to focus on her faith and family, leaving behind a what-if legacy that only added to her mystique among soul aficionados. As of February 2026, at 79 years old, Brenda Holloway has experienced a triumphant third act in her storied career. The Northern Soul movement in the UK rediscovered her unreleased vault tracks, turning her into a cult icon and coaxing her back to the stage in the 1990s. Today, she remains a vibrant performer, her voice having aged with a rich mahogany depth that retains its youthful elasticity. She continues to be a regular headliner at soul festivals across Europe and the United States, where audiences treat her presence with the reverence reserved for royalty. Brenda Holloway is more than a Motown star. She is a trailblazer who proved that a Black woman from the West Coast could write her own songs, play her own instruments, and maintain her dignity in an industry that often sought to diminish both. Ruth Pointer. In the vibrant history of vocal groups, Ruth Pointer stands as the deep rhythmic anchor that propelled the Pointer Sisters to international superstardom. Born in 1946 in Oakland, California, Ruth was the eldest sibling in a family where music and ministry were intertwined. While her younger sisters began as a nostalgic jazz and bebop trio, Ruth's arrival in 1972 transformed the group into a powerhouse of versatility. Possessing a rich, gravelly contralto that could move from a soulful growl to a gospel shout, she provided the necessary grit that allowed the sisters to effortlessly traverse genres from the country twang of fairy tale, which won them their first Grammy, to the sleek, high-octane pop of the 1980s. The 1980s marked Ruth's definitive era as a pop icon. As the lead voice on some of the group's most muscular hits, she defined the sound of the Breakout album, a multi-platinum phenomenon. Her commanding vocals on Automatic showcased her unique low-register prowess, while Neutron Dance became an anthem of the decade fueled by her inexhaustible energy and charisma. Unlike many groups that leaned on a single lead, Ruth and her sisters functioned as a democratic unit of talent, but it was often Ruth's formidable stage presence and vocal depth that gave the group its sophisticated edge. With 3 Grammy Awards and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Ruth helped ensure that the Pointer Sisters remained one of the most successful female groups in history. As of February 2026, at 79 years old, Ruth Pointer remains the vigilant guardian of the group's legacy. She continues to perform, often joined by her daughter and granddaughter, ensuring that the Pointer name resonates for a 3rd generation. Beyond the stage, Ruth has been remarkably candid about her journey, chronicling her triumphs over personal struggles in her memoir, Still So Excited. Her resilience is as legendary as her voice. She has weathered industry shifts and the loss of her beloved sisters with a grace that is deeply inspiring. Ruth Pointer is not just a survivor of the disco and pop eras. She is a vocal architect who proved that a Black woman with a deep, powerful voice could dominate the global charts and remain so excited about life and music after more than 50 years in the spotlight. Mavis Staples, a voice that sounds like history itself. Mavis Staples is a titanic figure who sits at the crossroads of American gospel soul and the fight for freedom. Born in 1939 in Chicago, Illinois, she became the spiritual and vocal centerpiece of the Staples Singers, the family band led by her father, Pops Staples. Her voice, a deep, grainy, and immensely powerful contralto, became the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. sought inspiration, he turned to the Staples. Mavis's delivery on anthems like "I'll Take You There" and "Respect Yourself" infused the struggle for justice with a divine rhythmic urgency. She didn't just sing for the charts, she sang for the soul of a nation, proving that music could be both a prayer and a protest. What makes Mavis Staples an enduring miracle is her ability to remain contemporary without losing her sacred roots. While many of her peers remained frozen in their golden eras, Mavis embarked on a legendary solo resurgence in the 21st century. Collaborating with modern rock and indie icons like Prince Jeff Tweedy of Wilco and Gorillaz, she bridged the generational divide with effortless cool. Her 2010 album, You Are Not Alone, earned her a long-overdue Grammy, followed by a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy. Her music is a masterclass in the message song, proving that empathy and hope are the most potent tools an artist can possess. In a career spanning over 70 years, she has evolved from a gospel prodigy to a global ambassador of human kindness. As of February 2026, at 86 years old, Mavis Staples is a living monument of resilience. She continues to tour the world, headlining major festivals, where she commands the stage with the vitality of a teenager and the wisdom of an elder. To hear her live today is a spiritual experience. Her voice has aged like seasoned oak, sturdy, warm, and unbreakable. She remains an outspoken advocate for social justice, frequently lending her voice to modern movements and reminding the world that we've got work to do. Beyond the Kennedy Center honors and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Mavis Staples represents the ultimate victory of the human spirit. She is the Lioness of Liberty, a woman who has spent her entire life turning breath into hope and song into a bridge for humanity. Stephanie Mills. In the history of American entertainment, few voices possess the explosive stadium-sized resonance of Stephanie Mills. Born in 1957 in Brooklyn, New York, Mills was a precocious talent who won Amateur Night at the Apollo Theater 6 times in a row at just 9 years old. However, her definitive ascent to legendary status occurred in 1975 when she was cast as Dorothy in the original Broadway production of The Wiz. Her show-stopping rendition of Home became a cultural phenomenon, showcasing a vocal power that belied her petite frame. Mills didn't just sing the role. She inhabited the longing and resilience of a generation, earning her the title of a Broadway icon before she had even reached her 20s. Transitioning from the theatrical stage to the R&B charts in the late 1970s, Mills proved she was a multifaceted recording artist. Collaborating with the production duo James Mtume and Reggie Lucas, she released a string of sophisticated soul hits that defined the Quiet Storm and disco crossover eras. Her 1980 masterpiece, Never Knew Love Like This Before, became a global top 10 hit and earned her a Grammy Award for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. Throughout the 1980s, she dominated the charts with soulful anthems like What Cha Gonna Do With My Lovin', I Have Learned to Respect the Power of Love, and I Feel Good All Over. Her voice, characterized by a shimmering vibrato and an ability to escalate from a whisper to a roar, made her one of the most consistent hitmakers of her decade. As of February 2026, at 68 years old, Stephanie Mills remains a formidable and uncompromising force in the music industry. She continues to tour extensively, delivering vocal performances that retain the same muscular agility and crystalline tone of her youth. In recent years, she has returned to her theatrical roots, appearing in televised musical specials and theatrical revivals, while also becoming a powerful voice for artist autonomy and the preservation of R&B heritage. Beyond her musical accolades, she is celebrated for her fierce advocacy for her son and the special needs community. Stephanie Mills is not just a singer, she is a pocket powerhouse whose career serves as a bridge between the magic of Broadway and the grit of soul, proving that true talent is a home you can always return to. Darlene Love. In the history of rock and roll, Darlene Love is the ultimate symbol of vocal resilience and delayed justice. Born Darlene Wright in 1941 in Los Angeles, California, she possessed a voice of such immense power and gospel-infused clarity that it became the secret engine behind some of the greatest hits of the 1960s. As the lead singer of The Blossoms, Love was the primary architect of producer Phil Spector's legendary Wall of Sound. However, in an era of industry exploitation, her voice was often credited to other groups. Most famously, she sang the lead on the #1 hit, He's a Rebel, which was released under the name The Crystals. Despite being the actual voice on these iconic tracks, Love spent years fighting for the recognition and royalties she rightfully deserved. What transformed Darlene Love from a ghost singer into a global icon was her refusal to be silenced. Her 1963 holiday masterpiece, Christmas Baby Please Come Home, is widely regarded as the greatest rock and roll Christmas song of all time. Starting in 1986, her annual performance of this anthem on David Letterman's Late Night Show became a beloved American tradition, introducing her thunderous vocals to a new generation of fans. Beyond the recording booth, Love proved her versatility as an actress, portraying Trish Murtaugh in all 4 Lethal Weapon films and starring in numerous Broadway productions like Hairspray and Grease. Her story of survival and eventual triumph was a central pillar of the 2013 Oscar-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom, which finally turned her into a household name. As of February 2026, at 84 years old, Darlene Love remains a touring powerhouse and a vibrant elder stateswoman of rock. She continues to perform with a vocal strength that remains largely undiminished, hitting the same stratospheric notes that first captivated listeners 60 years ago. In 2011, she was finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a long overdue acknowledgement of her status as one of the most important vocalists in American history. Beyond her musical accolades, she is celebrated for her warmth, her mentorship of younger artists, and her unwavering joy. Darlene Love is more than a soul singer. She is a rebel who fought the system and won, proving that while you can hide a voice for a season, a talent that magnificent will always find its way into the light. Candi Staton. In the vast landscape of American music, few artists have navigated the emotional peaks and valleys of soul, disco, and gospel with as much grace as Candi Staton. Born Kenzetta Maria Staton in 1940 in Huntsville, Alabama, she was a child prodigy of the church, touring as a teenager with the Jewel Gospel Trio, alongside icons like Mahalia Jackson. However, it was her transition to secular music in the late 1960s that revealed her true power. Recording at the legendary Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals, Staten, earned the title First Lady of Southern Soul. Her gritty, tear-soaked renditions of I'm Just a Prisoner and her Grammy-nominated cover of Stand By Your Man proved that she possessed a visceral, bluesy honesty that could make even the most familiar lyrics feel like a personal confession. The mid-1970s saw Staten undergo a spectacular transformation into a global disco phenomenon. Her 1976 anthem, Young Hearts Run Free, became a definitive track of the era, a rare dance floor hit that carried a heavy autobiographical message of escaping an abusive relationship. The song's soaring strings and Staten's defiant vocal delivery turned it into an international manifesto for independence. In the 1980s, she reinvented herself yet again with You Got the Love, a collaboration with The Source that bridged the gap between gospel fervor and electronic house music. This track's enduring popularity, remixed and covered across decades, cemented her status as a cross-generational icon whose voice could command both the pulpit and the club. As of February 2026, at 85 years old, Candy Staton remains a formidable and active legend. After returning to her gospel roots for several decades, she experienced a late-career secular resurgence, with critically acclaimed albums like His Hands and Unstoppable. Her voice has aged into a rich, textured instrument that carries the weight of 1,000 life lessons, yet retains the soulful clarity that first made her a star. Beyond her musical accolades, she is a survivor of domestic abuse and breast cancer, using her platform to inspire and heal others through her ministry and advocacy. Candy Staton is not just a survivor of the music industry, she is a young heart who never stopped running toward her truth, proving that a voice fueled by faith and resilience is truly eternal. Millie Jackson. In the landscape of 1970s R&B, while most female vocalists were portrayed as ethereal queens or tragic ingenues, Millie Jackson emerged as a raw, ribald, and revolutionary force. Born in 1944 in Thompson, Georgia, and later moving to New York City, Jackson bypassed the traditional constraints of the ladylike soul singer. Her 1973 breakthrough, It Hurts So Good, showcased a gritty, powerful vocal style, but it was her 1974 concept album, Caught Up, that redefined the genre. Through this masterpiece, she introduced her signature rap's long-spoken word monologues, delivered with a razor-sharp wit and a fearless exploration of infidelity, heartbreak, and sexual politics from a candid female perspective. This innovative approach earned her the title, the Mother of Hip-Hop, as her rhythmic storytelling predated the commercial rise of rap by several years. What distinguishes Millie Jackson is her refusal to compromise her authentic street-level persona for mainstream palatability. Throughout the late 70s and 80s, she released a string of gold albums, including Still Caught Up and Feelin' Bitchy, which featured legendary tracks like If You're Not Back in Love by Monday. Her performances were legendary for their theatrical intensity. She would often pause a song to deliver a hilariously blunt sermon on relationships, turning the concert stage into a confessional booth. Despite the controversial nature of some of her album covers and lyrics, Jackson was a vocal powerhouse with a rich, smoky alto that could convey profound vulnerability just as easily as it could deliver a comedic sting. Her 3 Grammy nominations and enduring cult status are a testament to her mastery of the grown-up soul aesthetic. As of February 2026, at 81 years old, Millie Jackson remains an indomitable and active figure in the entertainment world. She has successfully transitioned into a long-running career as a radio personality and theater producer, while still occasionally taking the stage to show the world that her raps are as sharp as ever. In recent years, she has been celebrated by a new generation of hip-hop and R&B artists who sample her work and cite her as a primary influence on the unfiltered female empowerment movements of today. Beyond the humor and the shock value, Jackson is a survivor who maintained complete creative control over her image and sound in an era that rarely allowed Black women such autonomy. Millie Jackson is not just a soul singer, she is a trailblazing storyteller who proved that honesty, however blunt, is the most soulful thing an artist can share. Martha Reeves. In the sonic landscape of 1960s, Detroit, Martha Reeves was the brassy, unstoppable voice that defined the sound of young America. Born in 1941 in Eufaula, Alabama, and raised in the heart of the Motor City, Reeves began her journey not behind a microphone, but as a secretary at Motown Records. Her transition from office staff to the lead singer of Martha and the Vandellas is the stuff of musical legend. With a powerful gospel-trained alto that possessed a distinctive street grit, she led the trio through a relentless string of hits that provided the rhythmic backbone for the label's golden era. Tracks like Heatwave, Nowhere to Run, and Jimmy Mack showcased her ability to convey urgent desire and soulful energy, setting her apart from the more polished, ethereal style of her contemporaries. The pinnacle of Martha Reeves's career arrived in 1964 with the release of Dancing in the Street. While originally intended as a high-energy party anthem, the song underwent a profound cultural transformation, becoming an unofficial soundtrack for the civil rights movement. Reeves's commanding vocal delivery, part celebration, part call to arms, resonated across urban landscapes, proving that pop music could carry the weight of social change. Her influence extended far beyond the recording studio. As a live performer, she was known for her explosive stage presence and vocal stamina, leading her group to become one of Motown's most successful touring acts. With her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995, Reeves secured her place as one of the most significant female vocalists in the history of rhythm and blues. As of February 2026, at 84 years old, Martha Reeves remains a formidable and active cultural ambassador. She famously served as a Detroit City Councilwoman from 2005 to 2009, fighting for the revitalization of her beloved city with the same tenacity she brought to her music. Today, she continues to tour globally, her voice still possessing that signature punch and soulful resonance that first captivated listeners 60 years ago. In recent years, she has been celebrated with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and continues to be a vocal advocate for the preservation of the Motown legacy and artists' rights. Martha Reeves is more than a soul singer. She is a Vandella who became a victor, a woman whose voice helped soundtrack a revolution and whose enduring spirit continues to invite the world to get in line and dance toward a better future. Bettye LaVette. In the Chronicles of Soul Music, Bettye LaVette's story is one of the most harrowing and triumphant arcs ever recorded. Born Betty Jo Haskins in 1946 in Muskegon, Michigan, she was a child of the Detroit scene who tasted lightning early. At just 16 years old, she scored a massive hit with My Man, He's a Lovin' Man on Atlantic Records. However, while her contemporaries like Aretha Franklin soared to superstardom, LaVette was met with decades of industry mismanagement, lost albums, and near obscurity. For nearly 40 years, she remained a singer's singer, performing in small clubs and European soul revivals, her voice marinating in the grit and experience that only time and struggle can provide. The 21st century witnessed what many call the greatest second act in music history. Starting with her 2005 album, I've Got My Own Hell to Raise, LaVette reinvented herself not as a nostalgia act, but as an interpretive genius. She possesses a jagged, weathered, and deeply soulful rasp that can strip a song down to its skeletal, emotional truth. Whether she is covering Sinead O'Connor, The Beatles, or Bob Dylan, she LaVette-izes the material, turning familiar melodies into visceral blues-drenched testimonies. Her performance of Love Reign O'er Me at the 2008 Kennedy Center Honors left the audience and The Who in stunned silence, cementing her status as a premier interpreter of the Great American Songbook. As of February 2026, at 80 years old, Bettye LaVette is finally reaping the whirlwind of her long-deferred success. She is a multi-Grammy nominee and a Blues Hall of Fame inductee who continues to release critically acclaimed work such as her 2023 self-titled album, LaVette. Her voice in 2026 is a formidable instrument, sturdy, defiant, and carrying the resonance of a woman who has seen it all and survived to tell the tale. She remains a regular headliner at prestigious jazz and blues festivals worldwide, where she commands the stage with a regal, no-nonsense authority. Bettye LaVette is more than a soul survivor. She is a masterclass in artistic persistence, proving that while fame may be fickle, true brilliance is a fire that never goes out, no matter how long it takes for the world to notice. Roberta Flack. In an era of high-octane soul and explosive funk, Roberta Flack emerged as a revolutionary force of restraint and classical precision. Born in 1937 in Black Mountain, North Carolina, and raised in Virginia, Flack was a musical prodigy who entered Howard University on a full piano scholarship at just 15 years old. Before she was a global superstar, she was a beloved teacher and a fixture in Washington, D.C.'s jazz clubs, where her quiet fire began to mesmerize audiences. Her 1969 debut, First Take, showcased a voice that felt like a whispered secret, hushed, technically flawless, and deeply intellectual. Unlike the gospel-shouting tradition of many peers, Flack brought a formal, conservatory-trained elegance to popular music, proving that a piano and a pure, unadorned vocal could command the world's attention. The early 1970s marked a historic streak of dominance that remains unparalleled. In 1973 and 1974, Flack became the first artist in history to win the Grammy for Record of the Year in 2 consecutive years, with The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face and Killing Me Softly with His Song. These tracks, characterized by their glacial pacing and intense emotional intimacy, redefined the adult contemporary landscape. Her collaborations with the legendary Donny Hathaway, such as Where's the Love and The Closer I Get to You, are widely considered the gold standard for vocal duets blending two distinct souls into a singular harmonic masterpiece. Flack's music wasn't just heard, it was felt, acting as a sophisticated bridge between jazz folk and R&B. As of February 2026, at 89 years old, Roberta Flack remains a revered matriarch of American music. Although she officially retired from touring following an ALS diagnosis in 2022, her presence in the cultural zeitgeist is as strong as ever. Her resilience was the subject of the moving 2023 documentary Roberta, which chronicled her journey from a segregated South to the pinnacle of the music industry. In 2020, she received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, a long overdue tribute to a woman who insisted on artistic excellence over commercial trends. Roberta Flack is more than a soul singer. She is a musical philosopher who proved that vulnerability is a strength and that the quietest voice in the room is often the one that resonates the longest through history. Across the decades, these icons, from Dionne Warwick's sophisticated pop to Mavis Staples' soulful activism, have done more than just top charts. They have crafted the sonic DNA of global culture. At Black Excellence Legends, we celebrate these women as the architects of modern music pioneers who turned struggle into symphony and silence into power. However, as the industry shifts further into the digital age of AI and viral trends, a vital question remains for every music lover. In an era dominated by fleeting streaming hits, can modern artists ever hope to achieve the same timeless, multi-generational depth as these original titans of soul?